And so nowadays you see like the common argument that if you're not hurting anyone else, it doesn't matter if you're hurting yourself.
Yeah, and that's non sequitur because
Yeah,
if you're hurting yourself, that's going to roll over. And you see this already because you look at, like, say, the ER rates or the car crash rates or the murder rates.
yeah,
All of these statistics are skyrocketing in places where marijuana is legalized. I think it was in Denver. I was reading a statistic when I mentioned it somewhere in the book. I think it's like 50% of murders was marijuana related. It was something crazy like that. And
yeah,
in Las Vegas, the police department was saying something similar. It's just marijuana is causing crimes, so that does involve everybody in the community. It's causing car crashes because people are now impaired, and there are studies suggesting that people are impaired even if they don't realize they're impaired.
yeah.
So you can smoke up a blunt and not think you're impaired, but you actually are. And that's a dangerous thing right there. Even a large portion of bicycle crashes, interestingly enough, is due to marijuana.
Mm. So why do
And
you think, why is it leading marijuana? Does marijuana lead somebody to murder someone? Like just the total loss of reason, or
so a lot
is
of
there?
it is just arguments over the distribution and purchase of drugs. Some of it is gang wars because you have now Mexican cartels moving to these legalized states to set up shop because now their business is legalized. Any state who legalizes marijuana is essentially rolling out the red carpet for these criminal organizations to come in. And we're seeing in states such as Montana, where you get these drug cartels smuggling people in to work for them. And I was just reading an article actually a couple days ago about Billings, Montana. Is just it's no longer a safe city because of all the crime happening.
You don't hear that often. You don't hear about how it's opening the gate to cartels or
Yeah,
other crime in general.
yeah. And you also don't hear about how the people who promote marijuana, such as one group's called Normal, NORML.
That's a long-standing group, isn't it? From
Yes,
90s
long
or
standing. And if you read their statements, interestingly enough, the whole reason why they went with the medical marijuana arguments because um, they want to legitimize all drug abuse. They don't want just a right to marijuana. They don't want a right to all drugs. And if you look at Oregon, for example, which is my home state, they started out by legalizing medical marijuana. Then they did full recreational marijuana. Then they did the mushrooms, and they also decriminalized all drugs. So it's just one after the other. That's what their
slippery
goal
slope.
is. Keep pushing it, you know.
Yeah. I guess like the culture and the media, they normalize it. Like you see celebrities
Yeah,
like at the Super Bowl or
yeah. And interestingly, there is actually a passage in Church Drugs and Drug Addiction that condemns all of these celebrities and media for promoting drugs.
yeah,
Um,
terrible thing.
I just remembered you asked about something that was shocking or surprising, right?
Yeah.
And you also asked something about violence. And I just remembered there's a page in my book that talks about violence. And this, I think, was actually the most surprising thing because this you will not hear about. So, we've all heard of the Parkland shooting in Florida, right?
Hmm.
Well, Nicholas Cruz, the shooter, he was a marijuana user. And then you have Salman Abedi, who detonated a bomb in Manchester Arena in the United Kingdom. He killed 20 people and injured over 100 others. He used marijuana.
That was at the Ariana Grande concert.
I don't remember.
I think that was it a few years ago.
Yeah. The Boston Marathon bombers, they were medical users. Um, the Aurora shooter that at that movie theater, he used marijuana. There, I list a page here of just people who committed mass shootings and stabbings around the world, and they were all marijuana users. That's something you don't
Yeah.
hear about in the media.